forgot his
There's
name though.
there's a miscommunication in the language because H.P. Lovecraft likes to make weird names. So there is a god in the universe called Agagoth. It sounds something like that, Agagoth, and it's like the breed mother that creates a lot of these things. And her whole shtick is that as long as her entities are alive, she lives. And then there's Azathoth, who is the all-being, the blind god, basically. People say Azathoth is the strongest because concept of reality itself, all these things are purely a dream. As in everything we're doing right now is all in his head. Like, and when he wakes up, like it's just, everything's gone, it's just wiped out. All universes, everything. Like the concept of something becomes nothing, basically. It's almost like reverse creation. So that's why people say it's so powerful.
That's
yeah,
just crazy
but
thing about.
no, it's a crazy
off
thing. Like
topic.
he's the only character in any verse where he's literally thing is that he turns. It's like a reverse god of Christianity, where instead of creating nothing to something, he does a reverse where it's like I turn something into nothing. There's no matter. There's nothing. It's like zero basically, which makes him like so powerful. But
I just love concepts like that because like I actually a while ago I had this like idea. I always thought about making my own story, right? My own little novel, whatever, fiction, auction, whatever, right? And I had this idea of like the Grim Reaper. Essentially, he wouldn't be the main character, but like the Grim Reaper exists, right? But like the Grim Reaper would be the first being in existence. Not just being, but the first thing in existence. And his existence would cause concepts or anything. Like, for example, when he moves, movement was created, but the sound from him thumping on the ground would create sound. The ground would be, something like that. His actions would create concept, would create everything, right?
It's funny you mentioned that because I don't know, like this may be my Catholic seeping in, but John Milton's Paradise Lost is a story about, the Garden of Eden and everything from like Lucifer's perspective. And one of the great battles, like the rebellion from like, the fallen angels to heaven, Saint Michael was on the front line against Lucifer. And upon striking Lucifer, he invented the concept of pain. I'll repeat, he invented the concept because he hit him so fucking hard that like for an eternity you just felt the pain. I'm like, what the hell? Like you get whacked so hard. It's like, yep, we need to invent a whole concept just for you from this one event. What happened?
That's funny, actually. That's hilarious. Actually, that's kind of similar with something like I do my thing. Well, I was thinking about doing right. We're Grimm because he didn't really take the form of like a skeleton-esque thing, right? I wanted to make like would prowl existence for a while, get bored, take a nap. When he wakes up, the gods would exist, right? And I have this idea, which I know this isn't true in every mythos, but like in most cases, gods are just assholes, pricks, frat boys. That's what I like to think of them as, right? What's it called? So they start trying to bully him essentially, right? And he just like puts his hand up to like stop, right? But he's just so overwhelmingly strong, he accidentally like rips off their arm or some shit, right? And you have to remember, pain, fear, nothing that didn't exist until that instant. The fact that he invoked it, that it existed, and then like I want to make this whole cool thing like where he just starts, like the guy's bleeding out, right? And he just starts sticking his hand in the wound, right, and starts ripping him apart. Not because like want revenge. He's just so grim, as I like call him, so infatuated with the idea of life and death, which he likes. Like I have the idea of like him saying like he kills the guy, but like how for example most Greek gods wear togas, for an example, right?
Yeah.
I want to make it where he just so brutally murdered himself, all the blood would leach into the toga and it just turned black. Like, how he has a black cloak, right? That's how much blood he lost or something, Anyway, what's it called? And I just had this, he had like a whole speech when he puts it on, right? It's like, that's when his form is going to change into like something skeleton-esque, where he like has this whole speech where he says, he apologizes not to the god, but he apologizes to existence. He says, "I'm sorry, I created something with no equal, which was life." And then he says, "I am death." And then he goes on a murder rap. Then he goes on like I don't want to say murder because he's not murder would not qualify what he's doing. He's giving an equilibrium to life. Starts killing beings not at random, which he has no bias, right? I want to make some montage, some killing, some random. Only gods exist. Morals don't exist yet, right? Because his mortality didn't exist yet, but now it does because he killed a person, right? But like, I want to make it like even this is sound messed up, I would always love like gory shit. But we even see like this poor. Don't if you guys laugh, you're getting canceled at this shit. So don't laugh. No one. But like what's it called? Like you would see that this like poor god essentially with it's like a single mother with her little kid, right? And like, it just looks like Grim is happy. They're like, oh yeah, hey, you're bringing some balance, and then Grim just punches a hole through the child's head, just kills him from his life.
Why? Why?
Because death.
Are you
why
making
not?
it where he's like a malicious character, or is he a character that's like more of a force of nature? As in, he simply is not moral or immoral. He's just like an amoral thing, basically, like
He's
a concept.
amoral. The thing I had
Yeah,
the
if he's
idea.
amoral,
Like,
why is he
no,
punching a hole through a kid's head then?
because like his death is equal. Who's to say why you don't die and why that kid dies?
That's
So
fair. I
you
can see
did it.
that.
I want to. I mean, this isn't possible, but I wanted, and you know how perfection doesn't exist, right? Supposedly God, which I am Christian, which I think we both agree that God is in our views is perfect or whatever, right?
Yeah, an all perfect, all good being.
Exactly. And I always had the idea that okay, that would exist, right? And of course, there's no other perfect being, but Grim would be the second only perfect being. In the sense is, I want to make the idea that perfection isn't being nice. It's I can't describe it because I can't describe perfection, but I would try to depict Grim as perfect in a sense. You know what I mean? Like like what you said, amoral character in a sense. I can't physically do that, but that's what was my intention, And then but like
A bit of an idea, I think it'd be a cool spin-off is that you have him, I don't want to say becoming an anti-hero character, but like realizing like what he's doing and all stuff like that and just trying like to stay out of things. And then you have an antagonistic character, like let's say Lucifer, if you will, or a version like that, who does what he does, but he does it very sloppy, and kind of have it as an a professional has standards type, persona, if you will. I think that'd be too. Yeah,
that sounds interesting. Actually, I never thought of it like that because Lucifer, my rough draft, what I always thought about Lucifer would exist. He'd be a force, right? But I always had this pinnacle that besides
you could
of
say
course
like
God.
death itself created like this action because
Exactly.
you could say like death is like inherently like viewed as bad.